Hi there. So last fall, the sort of water and storm system associated with the aftermath of Hurricane Florence blew through the area and caused a significant amount of flash flooding here on the farm and locally. And the amount of flooding and damage was not personally devastating, but it did make a huge mess. So thought I would just kind of discuss what we're doing to clean up a little bit. A lot of the debris cleaned up, mostly garbage that has washed down the creek from upstream. But I did want to just show you a little bit of the changes that have occurred due to just the natural erosion ability of that much water. So this is sort of what the understory of our wood lot looks like normally. Looking through this area here, basically all this area along, starting up there, all along there, way over there, and kind of across to right here. All of this stone area, that all used to look like what I just showed you. There's, if you dig down this gravel 20, 30 inches, there's the soil level where, all of those normal woodland surface plants and the previous soil surface. So like these trees have like 18 inches to a foot to 2 feet of gravel deposited around the base. There's just this huge bed of giant gravel here, and it was filled also with junk. You can see there's still a bucket sitting right there that we weren't able to get out before. And I would say, as astounding as this is and how much I don't particularly like how it looks, this is kind of, I think, natural for a flash flood in this kind of soil. And I think this soil has had these sorts of events before because it's very gravelly soil right here. Like the previous existing creek bed was essentially erased in this area, and it's sort of starting to dig itself a new channel through all of the gravel that it deposited. So I don't see anything to do about this. The only thing we've done is picked up as much of the junk from this area. We started in this area because basically, like, at the edge of the gravel is kind of where we started, because there really wasn't much garbage in the creek bed left from there to the edge of the property, which is a ways down further. So then we've just been kind of trying to work our way upstream, cleaning up as best we can. And we didn't get all of it by any means. I can see there's another piece of plastic which might have washed down recently. So you can see a bunch of old tires and rims and wooden junk, or metal junk. And then a lot of the smaller debris we've been trying to bag up so that we can, just get rid of it. And honestly, I think what happened was the flood kind of washed through an old country dump that someone had in the woods upstream and washed a bunch of it down onto our property. And by I say old, like some of these, right, so this is a PBR can, right? But this is not a new PBR can, because that is a pop top can. And then here's another, you know, pop top can. And from what I understand, there was a bunch. There's a lot of old Milwaukee. Oh yeah, here's one. You know, old Milwaukee pop top beer can. You know, that's not new garbage. That's pretty ancient garbage. I think they stopped making pop top cans in the 70s sometime. So yeah, there's a lot of old garbage that washed down the creek in this flash flood, which makes it, you know, old plastic is really hard to pick up because it like shreds when you know, try and get a hold of it. So we're doing the best we can, and I don't remotely demand that my woodland be like pristine wilderness, because it's just not realistic. I don't even know if that such a thing exists anymore, but it certainly doesn't exist here. But you know, we don't want to go out to our woods to enjoy them and then be walking past a bunch of cans and plastic bags and, you know, old clothes and stuff. So, you know, we're just trying to really quickly, you know, clean up the worst of it as fast as we can. And then yeah, it's always going to be an ongoing project, but like this flash flood produced such a huge quantity of garbage for us to clean up. So this area of the creek actually doesn't look all that different, although this bank did erode quite a bit. And I think I'm going to have to take down this red oak, just because it was significantly undercut by the erosion, and I think it's going to just slowly fall over and peel that whole bank into the creek, which I don't particularly want. So I think if I take the top off, then that root mass will stay there and continue to stabilize the creek for a long time. So the funny thing is, like, this stretch from where it turns the corner kind of up here all the way down, you know, to well past where that red oak was, there's very little garbage that got deposited. There's like a piece of plastic snagged up right here, and there's like a few random pieces of junk, like whatever that is, and then this reflector, but there's really not. Whereas like down there in that big gravel bed, there was just, we've already taken out bags and bags and bags. And then up here around the bend, there's garbage everywhere too. So it doesn't make sense to me exactly why it's so patchy and uneven, but it certainly is. So the creek kind of turns the corner and comes south right here, and from this point upstream there's just a colossal amount of plastic garbage everywhere, and I'm not really sure why that is. There was a significant change in this corner. You can see that's actually the old creek bank, and this huge bank of gravel got built up kind of in front of it. So this old black locust was already fallen down there. There's quite a bit of garbage, you know, intermeshed with all of this, that a lot of it we wouldn't be able to get out, you know. I'll try and pull that tire out though. And this, which I'm not even sure what it is, some kind of frame from a piece of furniture, maybe a auto seat. It's kind of hard to say. Yeah, I think it might have been a car seat, like maybe. It's a piece of junk now. So yeah, in this area we just got tons of snagged plastic and lots of like clothes, old ratty clothes, shoes. So it was somebody's personal dump. This little spot here, extraordinarily good at snagging a bunch of crap. 2 tires, a bunch of scrap metal, and a bunch of plastic and clothes. Now this bathtub I've mentioned in a previous video, and it's kind of the piece de resistance of the garbage that came down the creek, and still trying to figure out how to get it out of here. I mean, I can make a useful watering trough out of it if I can get it out of here, but you know, it's kind of like moving a piano in a little bit of ways. It's so freaking awkward that I don't know that I'm going to get to it this spring. It's not going anywhere. Unless we get another flash flood and it becomes my neighbor's problem. So this is kind of just an interesting little education in the force of water. So this is all just a mass of junk, some kind of galvanized flashing, and I don't know if this is house wrap or what. Bunch of this plastic, woven plastic stuff. But that is like a chunk of rubble. It's concrete and bricks and cinder block. So it's kind of it's a big chunk of rubble, and it's kicked right up there on top of those stones, like 3 feet off the level of, you know, the creek. So like it kind of just tells you, you know, and there's the bathtub there, but it kind of just tells you how much force that, you know, heavy, you know, massive stones like that, well, it's not exactly a stone, but you know what I mean, we're just rolling and getting tossed around and then lodging in places like this. Yeah, and oh, I didn't even notice there's a bunch of, looks like an old, there's some kind of steel, some kind of damn piece of furniture, or not furniture anymore, you know, but like framework or something. I can see some springs, so like a couch frame or another car seat frame or something. So yeah, and then that stuff gets all like twisted up with the stones and the rocks. They're so hard to get out, you know. I mean, but I really want to get this plastic, but like this is half buried, you know. It's difficult to remove, and then it shreds on you. Piece of carpet. So annoying, you know. And the disheartening thing is, I know next time we have a flash flood, we'll just have to do it all over again. One other kind of interesting consequence of the flash flood was it turned the road in front of our house into a river, and an enormous quantity of gravel got deposited here in the front yard. You're gonna see so there's the front of the house with our lilacs, and there's kind of like this big triangle where all of this gravel that used to be the road surface, so, and it's pretty deep. So right here, this is kind of like, I'd have to dig down, I don't know, a foot, 18 inches to get to the old lawn. And I'm not going to bother doing that. What I've decided to do is actually bring in some fill and build up at the edge of the road and cover all this gravel with you know, some topsoil, and just try and build up the grade right at the edge of the road, because basically I never really paid attention, but in front of my home, the topography slopes away from the road, and so in a flash flood situation, you just get all the water coming right into my yard, and I don't particularly want that because, you know, it brings gravel with it, obviously. So I'm going to try and build up the edge of the road. It appears that the town highway department decided to patch some holes in our gravel road with asphalt, which sure, that makes sense. All right, so that's our little flash flood aftermath video. Not too dramatic, really, and really, honestly, the impacts that we got from it are more inconvenient. You know, gravel in the front yard, trash in the woods. So I can't complain too much. You know, a lot of people lost huge. Even around here, there were people just nearby. You know, my neighbor to the south who had extensive damage to their home, and there were other people's whose homes were destroyed, you know, downstream of here. So, and then in the Carolinas, people were really devastated. So I can't complain too much, but we're still gonna have to do a bunch of cleanup. So, all right, well, happy spring, and thanks a lot for watching.